what are the issues with the
and the ottomans have folding card table legs, and they fold up into this.
So we have categorized all our
what you do is you can actually take
400 or
move these over.
Campus, and then
see they're the same height.
I'm talking mainly
those
about
can also be your
these
seating for your dining room whenever you're done.
Areas.
They can just fold out of the way.
Level 1.
And then also this piece too, this bench is actually not fixed in there, so you can pull that out and remove that.
The difference between these two is basically
we have lots of storage
the assessment that we do and kind of do the long-term planning before we start
bookcase here.
And the big difference is in step 2, 3, and 4,
here
where
you can
we try
utilize
to
for junk,
do these assessments because
or you can utilize them for clothes storage or whatever your preferences are.
We fix
we
it
also
for
have clothes storage underneath the stairs
years,
here.
And then, reset the clock, and then somebody again will have to look at these buildings
store lots of stuff
25
away.
or 50 years from now. And therefore, when we are trying to do these assessments,
we also have a washer-dryer combo that is included with the sale of this house.
Kind of
a folding station right up above, and then there's also storage up above that, so you can keep all your laundry soaps and necessities.
And how this came about. So
one of the other cool features that we have is this oscillating fan.
Our facilities folks.
For those of you who want it, it is actually available at Home Depot.
And a big committee is always involved.
This is the interior mini split unit. Now this is actually a AC/heat pump. It is also Wi-Fi capable also, so you can control it from anywhere as long as you're connected to the internet.
That everybody can live for the next 25 years.
And then we do have a front sleeping loft. So this was different from the TV show. I actually changed the railing. I was going to put a ladder in the middle, but instead decided to opt to put the ladder up the side of the fridge here, and then to make the entrance to the loft over here on the side. You can actually see through and actually see some of the stained glass in that front window up there. That does fit a twin-size bed, and there is currently a twin-size mattress up there.
And this is, like I said, first I'll go through some of the iconic buildings.
It does come with a 40-inch Samsung Smart TV.
So this is the art gallery. We use
also has a Precision Temp 550 NSP on-demand water heater with your dangerous gas down there for the propane. This unit works extremely well, and I found that I actually have to turn it down a little bit just because it is so hot.
It includes existing conditions and survey, recommendations and budgetary estimates.
The master loft here. You notice that we did do a barrel ceiling throughout this entire ceiling.
What it looks like.
We actually have 44 inches of clearance in the loft, so you can sit up in bed without any issues.
Is going to look at this building. It's probably not going to be me.
Nice sconces here for reading lights at night if you want to read. There is also USB port connections up in the headboard, just behind all the pillows there, so you can charge your smartphones or whatever. The cabinets that are there are actually 12 inches deep, so you can actually utilize that for a lot of storage also.
25 years from now.
And then
so here's one of the
we'll go ahead and sit on the bed.
Assessments to look at. As you can see,
we've got that beam across, and so I'm actually sitting.
Go facade by facade and basically document all the.
See, there is a lot of space in here.
Noteworthy
interior-wise, we have close to 10 foot
and we categorize
from floor to actual ceiling
cracks,
on the inside.
Superficial cracks. Everything that is a threat, we
it also does have the Nest smoke and carbon monoxide tester. That is also Wi-Fi enabled too, so if it ever goes off and you're not home, it will notify you.
This was a very involved project, and it's 280 feet tall.
And then let's move into the bathroom.
An assessment was not easy on this. And
bathroom is a Tunnel Amalfi marble shower.
And it's a very busy
building. Done.
So we have to kind of be mindful.
We also did the hexagonal marbles.
There were
on the floor.
A couple of issues with it. There was the
I used a Spectralock Pro
but this was
epoxy grout, so this shower should never mold or mildew. And also through the process of that seals the marbles, so the marbles should never stain.
And
this tub was custom built by me.
The tower in order to
it is reclaimed cedar, and it is actually fairly light. It is removable, so I'm going to show you.
I'd like to talk about this because
actually pick it up. I'm picking it up one
what
hand
happened
here.
was that when we started the project, we did not.
I'm not going to pull it out completely. I need to finish showing you around the rest of that.
Scaffolding, everything went on. We're always on a very tight schedule when we do this. It's during the summer.
It does have a nature's head composting
the students
toilet.
are not here. You have to do it really fast. And when we
plumbed out through the back.
started the project, we didn't know, and our project managers like to make us aware of this issue. That,
and then on this side,
as the time
a very
goes
tall,
farther out, the cost.
What I intended as closet
so
storage.
They want to know everything in advance. So
got a lot of storage in here.
We had all the
currently residing in there.
We knew what we were going to do.
You also have additional storage for towels up above.
Did the survey because we had all the
equipment. And then on this side,
we realized that the gutters had actually deteriorated. So what good will it do to actually fix all the stucco, because the gutters are going to leak and create the problem. So this is where we, something like a drone would be really helpful, where you can actually get to there when you don't have all the scaffolding in place, because when the scaffolding is in place and the project is already started, it's already too late. Everything has been committed. The contract has been committed, the people, the schedule, everything. Now there's going to be an impact. So similarly, the Green Library, and we are currently doing this one. So we did this assessment, I want to say like at least 5 years ago, but the project is happening now. That's how long it takes. That's what I was trying to say, that we are pretty slow, but I like to think of it as we're just a little blip in the life of this building. So we don't want to accelerate and do something fast and then not do it correctly. This is Robley Gym, and Chris was had the privilege of kind of looking at this whole report when we actually did the whole restoration of the Robley Gym. And it started by these falls, but this is exactly what turns into these kind of big problems afterwards if not taken care of. And this is what we're trying to identify when we are starting these assessments, where the small cracks are kind of continuing to gather water behind them, and then they tend to spall. This is Old Union, and this project is also just currently happening. Again, this was about 5 years ago we did the assessment, and basically they had similar problems, but in addition to the stucco problems, they had some decorative details which were disintegrating, and you can't see them here, but there are urns over there, and then there were consoles over here, so we're in the process of fixing that right now. This is Encina, and we're getting ready for a big capital project on this. The building has been vacated, and we're in the process of these assessments are very invaluable to us. They basically form, like I said before, a legacy document, not only during the time of the project, but also later on when people are going to refer to it 25 years from now. So we not only finish doing the assessment, but we document what kind of changes did we do to the building, or what were our thought processes and what decisions were made. We set a table for relooking at these repairs, and then also what are things that we need to look at 5 years from now or 10 years from now. We have a similar, which I won't go into, but we have a similar effort for also all our landscapes. We do this we have maintenance zones for our landscapes as well. So coming to Old Kent as a case study, this building just opened, I want to say a year or two ago, and Chris is partnered with us on this. The building was kind of, it actually survived the 1906 only with a little bit of damage, which was basically this. But then in the 1989, the corner kind of split a bit more, and it was mothballed for multiple years. Multiple studies were done to kind of demolish it and see if we should just proceed with, not being, because it was considered costly and not adaptable. But it was left as is. In fact, when we went 20 years or 30 years later, most of these labs just look like that. as you can see, the labs pretty much like that. It was mothballed and kept. Everybody's to pass it and say, what should we do with this building? Finally, we decided to refurbish it, and what I'm going to show is what we did with a drone in terms of an inspection for the building. So, like I said, because it had not been touched, fortunately, there was very little damage. Sometimes human beings are the ones who accelerate or are catalysts to doing the damage to the building. But in this case, it was pretty much untouched, but there were areas which had cracked, and we needed to make sure, because we were going to do shotcrete from inside. So the cracks may even get more pronounced once we had that. So we had actually conservator look at the whole building, but they were looking from the ground with binoculars. So we just, and you couldn't look at the eave or the wooden infrastructure above a certain height. So here are some of the drone flies photographs, and it was. I'll show you later when we had a forklift and we looked at the same situation at the main quad, and it's so much more easier to see. But this what helps is being proactive about it, knowing in advance where the areas of problems are. Yes, you can see with the binoculars, but the drone enabled us to get a little closer to the building.
Oh, sorry. Your battery is about to die here on this. I turned the screen on the darkest setting. You have your plug-in?
Yeah.
I'll plug it in while you're talking. Thank you. Try it once more.
So you could, some easy to see cracks were very visible from the binoculars, but the drone helped in looking at some of these more difficult cracks. And there are always, in these scenarios, it's pretty obvious where the problems are going to be. They're usually centered around openings. So we could pretty much target where we were flying the drone. Now, this was in 2013, and this was a student group. So we have all these students who want to be entrepreneurs, and there was this student group which decided they wanted to use drones as building assessment tools, and they approached us. We didn't approach them. They approached us and said, "Could we do a dry run?" So this is a result of that. Here you can see when they get to the roof, and pretty much the whole. This would have been invaluable during the Hoover Tower work, because we would have been able to see the gutter situation, which we couldn't see. And then we did a cupola inspection. So this is the main quad where we took a forklift, and just to give a contrast of how close you could get to the building and understand the problem, which you can't see from the ground. So here's what you see from the ground. What you're looking at is this area. From the ground, you really can't see what you just saw in the previous slide. This is the problem area. And with the forklift, which you have to schedule and all of that, but with the forklift, we could get really, really close. The drone is not as easy to see. And of course, the technology may have changed since we actually flew it. But it was pretty good. Yeah.
When you're using the drone, are you watching it in real time, or are you taking videos and photos and looking later?
They were watching in real time, and I will run the video so that you can see what we saw. It was, like I said, very, very preliminary, so the drone is like really shaky. I'm sure it's gotten better since. Any other questions?
Yes, speaking about the Hoover Tower, was the seismic assessment for this structure been done?
The question is that was a seismic assessment already done for Hoover Tower? Yes, we have what is for a university-wide seismic group, and they code the buildings as per their seismic status. And we like to be, because we are a university and liable, we like to be at a certain seismic. That is the reason Old Chem was mothballed. Hoover Towers assessment has been done, and
And any rehabilitation proposed?
well, we're just getting ready to get started on the Hoover Tower Phase 2 project with, so there are 2 more buildings right next to it.
Right.
And those all 3 are being considered for overall
Okay. And what kind of system is that? Is it URM or cast in place concrete building?
The Hoover Tower?
Hoover Tower.
It's basically a frame structure.
Frame structure, steel frame structure?
Is it steel or it's steel frame structure?
Steel frame?
Yeah.
Steel frame with concrete walls. Okay.
Yeah, this is Bakewell and Brown at its best. They made new technology look like old construction. So we have this a lot of places where they've used steel beams, but they make it look like wood construction.
All right.
Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to just run the video a little bit and then.
Sorry. Oh, maybe because it's not showing up on that screen.
So I can't run it?
Let's see if this works. Oh, there we go. I knew that would happen. There we go. The sound is on. Sound is not on.
Don't need the sound.
Oh, you don't need the sound? Okay, great. All right. Oh. There we are. Oh.
It's really shaky at the beginning. We'll get it first. I won't run the whole thing, but the whole idea is to and like I said, this was many, many years ago, so I'm sure it's that this technology is still there.
Get motion sickness.
Yeah, I don't want it to get
Oh, your mouse is probably on the other side. You want me to pause
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have one comment, which is we got a partner with the East Coast firm, UIP, on this project, and they had a historic expert who was extremely knowledgeable about stone restoration. And working in the East Coast climates was very concerned about freeze-thaw cycles. And so he came out here and said, oh man, I can't wait to really get my teeth into this sandstone. It's much softer than the stuff he just assumed it would be in terrible shape. And he said, no, it's such a mild climate out here, it doesn't have any of those issues. You know, it has pointing into some cracks, but in proportion to what he was expecting. So it was actually a fairly modest scope of work to restore the exterior, clean it, and proportions of it. And there were some patches, but they really shake their head. In what good shape is in.
Yeah, I want to just add to that. When I went to Georgetown and looked at their sandstone, it was like as if like melted ice cream.
Oh.
And then, you know, I was like, wow, you know, we don't face that problem because we don't have, I mean, basically, if you keep the people have told me sandstone just wants to be a beach. It wants to go back to becoming sand. As long as you keep the water out of it, it's good. Okay.
Is that your last slide?
Yes.
Or okay, great. Any questions from the room?
Yes.
Have you been, so this was in 2013, you said?
Yes.
So have you used the drone since?
After that, we got really smart about restricting the drone activity all over campus because it was just kind of getting out of control. But I'm sure these students must have made an enterprise out of this because they didn't only do OCamp. They did multiple modern buildings, and I don't know how they used the data, but yeah, they were getting ready to launch as an enterprise.
Has most of your renovation been with crack repair, or have you had to do a lot of masonry replacement?
So my most embarrassing story about this is that at the Memorial Church, at the base, we had a lot of deterioration. And of course, everybody goes to Memorial Church. So we normally just use cathedral stone and do patch because that's the easy way to do it. So we did that, and then I want to say like 6 months later, we were passing by and we see that there is this whole white line along the side of the patches that we had done. And as you touched the sandstone, not the patch, but the sandstone, it was sugaring really fast. So the first instant I spoke to the conservator and she said, you must immediately remove the patch because we need to figure out what is going on. And why did the deterioration happen so fast? I mean, our whole goal of doing repairs is so that we extend the life of the building or the material. And so we instantaneously removed all the patches, and the next weekend was Steve Jobs' memorial service at the church. So it was really awkward. But so now in high-profile areas, because we learned the hard way that sandstone rejects patches. In high-profile areas, we do what is called Dutchman repair, and we have a boneyard full of stone that we have bought from the quarry because the quarry is closed already. So we just store it over there, and we judiciously use in high-profile areas Dutchmans.
So in that case, I'm sorry, was the water actually intruding behind the patch?
We've never been actually, because we did a whole deep dig in front of the columns to see where the water was coming from. The sandstone below the exposed area was in perfect condition, but just above that line, for some reason it was deteriorating. And we have not been able to identify why that was the case. It could be that that particular stone came from that part of the quarry where that certain vein was weak, or God knows what the issue was. And we don't have gutters on the Memorial Church, so maybe it's washing down the facade and then doing something over there localized. But yeah, once we did the epoxy, once we did the Dutchman replacement, we have not had any problems. Yes.
So I just have to add, conservator in the room, that a lot of the patch materials like cathedral stone and others, a lot of those are designed for the East Coast. Where they're using bluestone, granite, so they'll call it sandstone patch or marble patch, but the density and the breathability of those patches may be different than the sandstone on your building.
So
it's not that it rejects all patches. Sandstone does not reject all patches. It's just that if it's not compatible. So their materials are based on Portland cement.
Right.
Which is
right, and we looked at Edison, which is lime, and we looked at the cathedral stone, and we did the Rhine test. It's called
Rhine.
Yes.
Rhine is for
moisture, and all of those tests to see if it was an incompatible material. And for most part, it was not. But I don't mind if the patch fails. That's what its purpose is. It's supposed to fail. It's the sacrificial lamb in the whole.
Case,
it was the sandstone fail. That was the problem.
Right, and that's my point. is that in this case, the patch was too dense and it didn't allow moisture to come out, so it was trapping it behind, which is a classic problem we always have with stone.
So we've used the same exact formula elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it's fine. It's just in this particular area, there was a problem where it was rejecting the patch, and we could not afford in a high profile area like that for the patch to keep on fixing it. I mean, we don't care if the patch fails, we just go fix it every couple of years, right? So that was not the issue, but here, because it's the same formula that failed and affected the sandstone, we had to do something more drastic.
Okay, no questions from the audience, so we have scheduled a 15-minute break. So we'll return here around 9:15.